Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Oh, Glenn, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I'm standing right now because we've been at the coffee shop for a while, and I need to stretch the little legs.
I know, full transparency, we jump in behind the counter. We jump in Saturday mornings periodically and do like 5 episodes at a time. Right. We start at 6 a.m. So I'm hitting a wall right now, man. we just did a bunch, and I'm like,
Well, you know what's funny is you're
not going to get your money's worth during this session.
I remember back to the first session we had with the first 5 episodes, and my brain was hanging on every word I said, right? Am I saying this right? Am I doing... No, I don't give a flip, man. It's just
and we prepared for 2 hours ahead of time.
We'd have notes.
Oh, my God, it was crazy.
Yes, and now we just kind of come in and go, what? We have like one word, we did just a recent episode on the word no. I mean, 2 letters. I mean, one word, one sentence, no. And we had no notes, and yeah, we just kind of...
And the word no turned into the word yes.
Yeah, yep. As will happen here often, you never know what to expect.
No, man, that's fantastic.
No.
A lot of great stuff going on, man. Life is good. Love being part of the sober path. You know, I said the other day, and I'm people judge, right? But I actually thought to myself, I might be recovered.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I'm still on the recovery path, and I still every day do 25 things a day, a week, a month, right, to stay sober. But I don't think about booze anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I go through amazingly ups and downs and challenges and great wins and through my life, and I'm not one time tempted to drink. I think about it once in a while just because it's still there, but more what I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man.
Well, let's switch gears. Because I'm going to switch topics on us because you were actually hitting on a topic, right? So, which we had
the
in our
C word.
Yeah, the C word. Celebrate. Right.
Celebrate.
And you just celebrated 9 years. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Let me get you a bell and give you a big hug. But I think it's important to celebrate these AA and these sobriety alcohol anniversaries because it's showing me the way. I mean, it's showing me the way
that it works.
And that is so important. It's what I liken it to the slot machines in Vegas, right? I mean, I'm sitting at my machine and I'm plugging in my dollars, and it ain't dinging, right? And then 3 machines down from me, ding, 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 right? And my attention clearly focuses on the winner, right? What did he get? What did they win? But it gives me hope. I accelerate my pace of putting coins in my machine because all of a sudden, after the guy on the right dings, there's a machine 2 on the left of me that's dinging. The guy right to the right of me gets a small victory. I'm hearing constantly on the floor, I'm hearing the dinging. I'm hearing the victories. And that keeps me in the game.
I don't think you could have a better analogy than that, a better metaphor. So let me ask you this. Yeah. Is it the years or the mileage?
Oh, it's 2 things. It's absolutely the years, because when I came into the program, I didn't think I could make it 5 minutes. To sit across the table from a guy who had 5 months or 5 weeks or 5 years blew me away. That it gave me a line to hope that it's possible for me. So I think it's that. But then the part of how it works where it says if you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, I didn't want the 5 years. I wanted the comfort and the calm and the peace that you conveyed in the room. I'll never forget the first time I met you in the room. You were sitting in the back corner, sitting up against the window, not in a corner really, but on a stretch right in front of the windows. And it came to your time to share, and you talked about a Ferris wheel. And there was something about your presentation. It wasn't the words. It wasn't exactly what you said, but it was the way you said it and the calm that you had and the confidence you had I didn't know how long much sobriety you had, but in that moment in time, I wanted what you had, and I was willing to go to any length to get it.
So there's a guy I know with over 9 years, and he hasn't worked all the steps. Life hasn't really changed, and I feel sorry for him.
Oh, it's terrible.
And then I know somebody, I know a girl, we had her on, and she's got like 13 months.
Yeah.
I mean, and the mileage. So she has, and here I am judging, right? It's not my place to, but I think she's got more mileage after 13 months than that dude has in over 9 years.
Right? Isn't that incredible? Yeah.
So does it matter? I think it matters.
I think it matters because we need to know what's possible. It's like the 4-minute mile. You know, you needed to know what was possible for that barrier to be broke, and you needed it in the record book. You needed to hear about it and see it celebrated because then you knew that it was possible for you.
Another phenomenal. Did you know it took like hundreds of years for that first one to break, and then 20-some thousand people broke it since then?
Right.
You know, it's just amazing. So I think we're talking about two subjects here. One is I didn't drink. And that's a period of time, right? Whether it's 1 year, 13 months, or 9+ years, right? I didn't drink. But I think the second part of that equation or statement, and the most important part, is now what? And that's the mileage, right? And that's the, okay, so I didn't drink. What are you doing? What are you doing with that space, right? You haven't learned the tools. You haven't deployed the tools. You haven't changed your environment. You're complaining about the same stuff today you complained about 5 years ago. Like, why? What are you doing?
So what you've done, you put me back on that casino floor, and it's the guy to the right, and he won. But the next question is, how much did he win? Did he win big or did he win little? Right? So what I mean by that is,
or it's a guy 2 down where he's playing, and he never hits the jackpot.
Never hits it.
But he's still in the casino.
Yes.
He's still in the chair, and he's still pulling the handle.
That's right.
Even though he's not getting any rewards.
Right.
And I think that is just painful.
it is painful
Because
It's painful
you're
to
seeing
see.
everybody. God, that's one of the best metaphors I've heard in a long time. Because everybody else around you is winning.
Right.
They're playing a different machine.
All you have to do is keep playing, though. It goes back to the keep coming back, right? So all you have to do is just keep coming back to that machine, keep following the cycle.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're in Vegas and you're in the cool air conditioned casino, you're not in the hot desert. Hey, great, congratulations! You're not in the hot desert dying, right? But you're also not winning,
Right.
You're sitting there in the chair and you're getting the free seltzer water, and you're pulling the machine, but at the end of the day, you're not winning,
Right.
unless you're playing the right machine in the right way, and that's the program of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's important to celebrate. I think it's important to celebrate the days, but I also think it's important to celebrate the moments. Like you said, the mileage. You know, I learned a lot from Dr. John, not by the words that rolled out of his mouth, but the fact that he lost his wife during sobriety and stayed sober.
Yeah, that's mileage.
That's mileage. When we went through that experience with him, it strengthened me. Through his strength, strengthened me.
So for me, I understand your metaphor, and I get it. In fact, you scolded me last year when I wasn't going to celebrate 8, and you said, hey, you help others by coming in and announcing. So I announced my 9, right? But for me, it has nothing to do with the years. It's all about the mileage.
Right.
It's all about the wins. And if you really jump in the pool and you do the programs of Alcoholics Anonymous, I mean, the wins amaze me. But here's why else I didn't do it. And I think I told you these stories. There was one time I had 12 months of sobriety. This is years ago. And I won't even say sobriety. I didn't drink for 12 months. I was half-assing the program. You know, it was terrible. I was miserable.
You were dry.
Yeah, and at 12 months, I can remember picking up the phone and calling like all the treatment centers I was in and all my counselors I was in and all the programs I was in. I remember calling them up and saying, hey, I achieved 12 months sobriety. Do you want me to come in and share how I did it? And you want me to tell everybody?
Sure.
That
you wanted to go on circuit.
I wanted to go on TV and tell, because my ego said, hey, I've conquered this. Let me, I'm like, what a whack job I was, And guess what? Everybody's like, nah. And it crushed my ego. And guess what? I relapsed. I mean, because, I didn't have any tools. I didn't have any program. I was just half-assing it.
You know what my experience was? Similar, but with a different result. I wanted to go work for the rehab place I went to. I wanted to go work for them
As a counselor?
Yeah. Anything. I would do anything. But I wanted to be on the front line, man. I wanted to let the world know. And so
I ran it by the one in Rockford?
Yes. Ran it by my sponsor. He said, I'll tell you when you're ready. You know what? He still hasn't told me I'm ready.
That's all. God, I'm trying to think of the name of that.
Rosecrans.
Yeah.
Great facility.
I think you and I were in the same room, just different times.
Yeah, right.
Just like a church, same room, different times.
Yep. So, yeah, I think celebration is a big thing. I think that I think we see it through life as it validates, and I need validation, and now I need to validate to the next guy that I don't have all the answers. I can't tell somebody how to get sober themselves because I'm not sensitive to what brought them to that point. But what I can do is tell them what I did today to stay sober, what I did to get through my daughter's wedding sober, what I did to get through my father's wake sober. I can tell them that, but I can't tell them what to do or how to become sober themselves. But I can share my experience, strength, and hope.
Yeah, I still think it's 95% mileage and 5% time.
Really?
I just do. I just when people give time, there's people who knew me back then, and when I came to the room, they're amazed I made it 9 years, just amazed. But I think it's more important, what have I done with that time?
Yeah.
Right? What am I doing for sobriety today? And I think
love that.
I think that's what tells the better story.
I love that.
Right? Because I do this, and I do this, and this has changed, and this has changed, and this is the promises, and this is this. I mean, I can give you a list that'll put that 9 years to shame.
Yeah.
And there are people that do, 9 years worth of work in 13 months.
Yeah.
Like Elizabeth, and sit there and say, ugh. I do a lot for sobriety, and I have a good program, but I look at her and I'm like, Glenn, you're slacking, right? And so I think it's good to do the years because especially the early people focus on time, but I think at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with time. It has to do with the mileage, not the years,
love
the
that.
mileage. I just really believe that. And again, I got that one example, where he's got over 9 years, but. What mileage?
Right, sure. Yeah, I've seen a lot of grumpy people.
Right. I'm like, what are you doing with the time?
Right.
And he's not doing he's not doing much, I should say. It's not my place to judge, but I learned from others. And I learned that if you're in the pool hanging out in the shallow end, sitting on the stairs, you're not going to learn how to swim. You might be in the
if you're
pool.
standing outside the casino in the 98-degree heat in Vegas, you're not going to experience any of the joy of winning.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
You don't win on the sidewalk.
No, I have to really think on that because that's a great new metaphor. But no, hey, I think nine years is cool, but it's more important what I'm doing with the 9 years. And I have built a life. I don't even want to use the term rebuilt because my life today looks nothing like it did before.
What does it look like now?
I think I can go down the list of promises and give an example of how every single one of them are coming true. And the funny thing is, and I've told you this before, I remember the first time I heard the promises, I turned to the guy next to me. I'm like, man, they're pretty cool. And he goes, that's the first time you've heard them? I'm like, yeah. He goes, Glenn, you've been in this meeting for 2 years. They've read them at every meeting you've been at for 2 years. but I was always thinking about what to say and how
what you were going to do after the meeting.
Yeah,
right?
or I heard something. I'm never paying attention. And so I remember going home that night, and I lived with a sober guy, and I went home that night in my bedroom, and I wrote down a list of everything I wanted back. I went down the list of promises. I'm like, okay, I want the big house back. I want my Volvo racing station wagon back. I went, boom.
Wait, did you say racing and station wagon in the same breath? Is
Volvo
there such a thing?
Volvo made a V70R that went 200 miles an hour.
So it's a family truckster. That's fast.
It was an amazing. It had.
I had no idea there was a combination of those two things.
Platinum. It had aluminum. It had suede seats.
Wood grain sides.
No, it was no way, man. This thing kicked butt.
All right.
It was a Turbo 5.
Wow.
I mean, the thing was amazing.
Okay.
So yeah. So I wanted that back. And so what I can say today is, without a doubt, every single one of those promises are or have come true as a result of this program. Again, I think that's the mileage, but they look totally different than initial list.
It ain't the turbo?
Not at all, man. I drive a 8-year-old car, 6-year-old car with 170,000 miles.
And you love it. I love it as much as the other car.
My wife keeps saying, probably not, but my wife keeps saying, but that's not important to me today.
Right.
And the only thing my life looks nothing like that list. The only thing I can attribute it to is that my step 3, made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. And so I am not the architect of my life today. God is. And so God tells me, here's the promises that I'm going to deliver for you.
What's the greatest promise he's delivered to you?
I would say finding peace. I never knew peace, until I found sobriety. I mean, fear of others. I'm afraid of very little today. I don't hit the fear button very often. I have a level of confidence. I can live life on life's terms. I can face whatever comes me. I have the right intention. I live the right way. I still screw up, but then I apologize. I clean my side.
You answered it.
I don't know, man. I just think at the end of the day,
it doesn't have 4 wheels and a steering wheel.
My life today has nothing to do with. I mean, I don't dress like I used to. Mm-hmm. I don't drive like I used to. My house doesn't
drink like you used to.
I don't drink like I used to. My house doesn't look like I used to. I don't vacation like I used to. I mean, all that shit doesn't matter. But you know what? I have relationships today that I never used to have. I mean, they are real and they are deep. I have love and serving for others that I have never known in my life, and that is a superpower. Just living the sober and spiritual lives, that they are both individually superpowers. And when you put them together, I mean, it's just amazing. And I'm blessed in so many areas of my life, and I take it very seriously. And I focus on mileage. It's hey, I have today. How can I maximize today? How can I serve today? Who can I serve today? I just think, I am embarrassed when I announced 9 years, and I was in a meeting, and then everybody talks about 9 years, and I mean, I was embarrassed, and I don't have that ego. Before I would ask them to say it a second time because I wanted to hear it again, and now I'm like, oh, just don't, just stop. Just let me just be in my world. And I just know that's a poison for me, man. It's not what it's about. It's not about the memo. Mm-hmm. It's about the mission and just living the mission. And that's why a lot of times I just do things in silence, because I don't need the accolades anymore, and I don't need the car, and I don't. There's a guy I know. He's all about image, and I can see it is 100% fake, and I'm like, dude, just be you, just be you.
Love it.
So I don't know, man.
Thanks for ringing the bell for me, man.
I don't think it's the years. I think it's the mileage. What are you doing with the time? 13 months can be a lot better mileage-wise than 9+ years.
You inspire on time and you inspire on mileage. Love you, brother.
All right, man. Love you too.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@sober.coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.
Stay safe in the city of Chicago. Beautiful city.